Principal Narasingh, thank you for that kind introduction and the honor and privilege of speaking to your faculty, staff, guests, and of course, most importantly, your students on this special occasion. Aubrey Pierre, thank you for those inspiring valedictorian remarks and congratulations on being selected by the student body as a recipient of this year's scholarship to support your higher education pursuits. Graduates, congratulations. Now I wish, like all of us, that this was an in-person commencement. Nevertheless, graduation is an exciting time, and although the pandemic has altered our behavior, it has and will never alter our ambitions, our dreams, and our will to be greater versions of ourselves. You are the perfect exemplars of this truth. As president of Broward College, I know well the significance of this day. This is not only a time when we celebrate your years of hard work, but it is a celebration of your transition to the next phase of your journey, the fulfillment of your vast promise, and your school mantra that every student is a rising star. There are three things I would like to talk to you about today. First, I want to talk to you about the importance of hard work. Second, I want to talk to you about being the owner of your destiny. And finally, I want to talk to you about being able to always look at yourself in the mirror. First, hard work. No matter how far behind you are or think you are, hard work will help you catch up. When I first arrived at college, I knew I needed to catch up. Some of you may have faced setbacks during your academic journey, but where you are will never define where you are capable of ending up. You see, I grew up in Jamaica, Queens, New York in the 1980s and early 1990s during the height of the crack epidemic. It was very typical for me to see crack vials or syringes in the streets, people selling drugs on street corners, and even across the street from my home, seeing drugs sold. The neighborhood was dangerous, and I remember even to this day how commonplace it was to hear the sound of police helicopters flying over my neighborhood looking for criminal suspects. Starting in the third grade, I commuted to a school that was about an hour away from my home. I had to walk through the projects, take a bus, and then walk a little bit more. The school was in a better neighborhood where the students were certainly more affluent than I. By 1989, when I was in the 6th grade and I was about to graduate from elementary school, I said to a classmate, "Isn't this amazing that we're going to be the last class of the decade?" And he immediately said to me, "No, we're going to be the last class of the millennium because we're going to graduate college in 1999. And that was the first time that I'd heard the word college. So here I was, a 6th grader, hearing the word college for the first time from another 6th grader who knew exactly what year he was going to graduate. Indeed, by the 6th grade, I was already behind. I continued to go to school in the same neighborhood through the 9th grade until I had to go to my local high school. My parents shot me to every high school because they did not want me to go to the high school that I was zoned for. But every school that they tried to put me in told me the same thing. I couldn't attend because I wasn't zoned for that school or my grades were simply not good enough. The high school that I attended, my zoned school, had numerous reported shootings, one of the highest teen pregnancy rates, one of the highest HIV rates, and was in the first cohort of 40 schools in New York that would require metal detection of every student every day upon entering the building. The metal detectors startled me little, as they paralleled the neighborhood movie theater that required me to go through metal detectors, and the neighborhood convenience stores, we called them bodegas, that were laden with bulletproof glass between the vendor and the customer. By the time I went to high school, academic success was hardly my focus. My focus was on my safety, the safety of my friends, the safety of my family. When I graduated high school, my best friend and I joked that we didn't graduate, we survived. And one of the most incongruent data points of my academic life is that I graduated from high school with a 2.7 GPA, but in the top 15% of my class. I was lucky enough to attend Arizona State University for college, and I applied to Arizona State for two reasons. Reason number one, it was far from where I lived. Reason number two, applicants had to meet 2 of 3 criteria to get in. The criteria were a decent SAT score, a 3.0 GPA, or top 25% of your class ranking. I had the decent SAT score. I certainly did not have the GPA, and as I shared, I somehow ended up in the top 15% of my class. I arrived at Arizona State sight unseen. It never even occurred to me that I should have visited the school on the other side of the country before I decided to attend. I was very uncomfortable when I arrived, and oddly, what made me most uncomfortable was that there were no metal detectors. Metal detectors were the primary tools that my community had used to safeguard me, and that safeguard was now gone. Then I started to develop a class schedule, and I was told that I needed remedial education. That means I was just getting started at college, but I yet again was already behind. Now remember what I told you, hard work can help you catch up, and how hard you work is something that is completely within your control. I don't know how familiar you are all with the Serenity Prayer. My mother always had the Serenity Prayer in our home. I remember seeing it as a child when I was growing up in New York, and she continues to have the prayer hanging in her home in Virginia, in her kitchen, in fact, where everyone is sure to see it. The Serenity Prayer states, "God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference." I could not control the fact that I had not heard of college until the 6th grade. I could not control the fact that I did not have a network to rely on to learn how to be successful in college, or the simple things like visiting the college before you decide to attend. I could not control that I had not been best prepared for college, or that others had been far better prepared than I. But it was not my role to toil in that which I could not control. What I could control was how hard I worked every day. I had a poor first semester in college, and it was clear that I did not know what I was doing. I frankly did not even know how to study, but I knew I could work hard. And I could work hard in a manner that could lead to my success. In trying to learn how to study, I remember reading an article that said, you remember best what you take in before you go to bed at night. So I operationalized this article by reading 1 hour before going to bed, and then I set my alarm so that I would sleep for an hour, and then wake up and read for an hour, and then sleep for an hour, and read for an hour, and then sleep for an hour, and read for an hour. And I did this throughout the night for an entire semester. Now, I don't recommend this behavior, but my grades did improve. And believe it or not, I learned to work even harder and more efficiently. Shortly thereafter, for the first time in my entire academic life, I became a straight A student. Despite starting from behind, I was able to become the first person in my family to graduate from college, the first person in my family to graduate from law school, and eventually become the president of one of the largest and most impactful colleges in America. I promise you, none of it happens without working extraordinarily hard along the way. To this day, I faithfully believe that hard work is fundamental to success, and how hard you work is fully within your control. This leads me to my second point. You are the only owner of your destiny. Without any doubt, you have earned your way to this moment. I would dare to say that some of you have probably been told that you would never get to this point. Or maybe you've been told that you won't achieve the dreams that you desire. I know that feeling. One of my high school teachers told me loudly and without any hesitation in a classroom full of students that if I were to ever make it to college, I would never survive. Now, obviously, she got it wrong. But I share this not so you can feel badly about what she said to me. That's not important. The key is I did not define myself by her version of my future or her view of my potential. That's what's important. Never be afraid to remind yourself of what you have overcome to get to this moment, as these memories will be the bedrock for overcoming future challenges. And remember that only you can define your capacity. Others will try. Others will think less of you. Others will think that you are not capable. But despite all of that, remember that you own your destiny. You own your future. And if you decide to be unstoppable, then you are unstoppable. A pandemic has not even stopped you. It challenged you, it stretched you, it pushed you, and you made it anyway. This experience has equipped you to take head-on any challenge life throws at you. From this day forward, wake up every day and acknowledge to yourself, your friends, and to your family that completing high school during this crisis proved to yourself and to the world that you are the only owner of the key to your success, and no one can take that from you. My final point, and this is perhaps the most important: whatever you do, whichever path you take, always make sure that you can look yourself in the mirror. Let me explain what I mean by that. As you move forward in life, as you dream and achieve of becoming the best at whatever you choose to do, you will have more responsibilities and you'll have more opportunities to make money along the way. But there will be compromises that you'll need to consider. And there are certain compromises that you never want to make. Never compromise what is right for what is convenient. Never compromise what is good for what is lucrative. Never compromise what is necessary for what is easy. Never compromise what is good for your family for what is fleeting. And never compromise service to others for what is only a service to yourself. Ensure your life is defined by honesty, integrity, and service to others above yourself. There's a poem that my stepfather has been reciting to me since I was a young man, and I would like to share it with you. It is called The Man in the Glass by Dale Winbrow. It goes as follows. When you get what you want in your struggle for self, and the world makes you king for a day, then go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that guy has to say. For it isn't your father or mother or spouse whose judgment upon you must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in your life is the guy staring back from the glass. He's the fella to please, never mind all the rest, for he's with you clear up to the end. And you've passed your most dangerous and difficult test if the guy in the glass is your friend. You may be like Jack Horner and chisel a plum and think you're a wonderful guy, but the man in the glass says you're only a bum if you can't look him straight in the eye. You can fool the whole world down the pathway of years and get pats on the back as you pass, but your final reward will be heartaches and tears if you've cheated the guy in the glass. As I conclude my remarks, I end where I started. I am grateful for the honor and privilege to have shared with you today. May all of you never forget the power of overcoming through hard work. May you always remember that you are the only owner of your destiny. And may you follow a path that ensures your ability to look at the person in the mirror. Class of 2020, congratulations, and I wish you all the best.